Oh man, is this smooth. I love Mercury's. Hi, I'm Dennis Gage. Thanks for tuning into My Classic Car, home of the certified car nut. Well, this week we're in Evansville, Indiana, which is pretty easy for me because that's where I live. But you know, sometimes you'll find the most amazing things in your own backyard, and that's definitely the case for these two muscle Mercs. A few years ago, I was at a little local car show, and Tom Lance had his '64 Merc Marauder there, and I absolutely fell in love with that car. But then I sort of lost touch with Tom. Earlier this year, though, he sent me a picture of his latest project, the '64 Comet Cyclone Cammer. And at that point, I said, I feel a feature coming on. Plus, this way, I might actually get to drive these babies. I'm crazy about Mercury's. Check them out. Well, Tom, I finally got you.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Tom, I've been hunting your Mercs for a long time. I think I first ran into you, what, 5-6 years ago at a local car show, right?
Right.
And you had that '64 Marauder, and that thing stopped me in my tracks. I just fell in love with it. I love those cars. This is one you created, though. This, I mean, it looks like a factory lightweight. Right. But you basically made one.
Right. I built it up from a car headed to the scrapyard.
And man, did you do a killer job. Even graphics-wise, I mean, these are all local companies here in Evansville. I mean, this is kind of hometown all the way around.
Right. Had to find a guy that practiced for about a month to actually hand letter them.
No kidding.
Because, you know, they didn't really have decals and transfers back then.
But I love the cammed heat with your sterno on there. Was that also kind of a period thing?
Well, I always wanted one of these types of engines, and I came up with that name a long time ago, and from the band, and
of course, canned heat.
Play on words,
right.
So that's the way it ended up.
But now, was the band around? The band wasn't around in '64.
No, '65. So I had to go back in my research and find a reason to have canned heat, and sterno. Is exactly what it was called.
Now, originally, this thing would have been lightweighted almost head to toe. What of the original car is still left?
The roof, the floor pans, the trunk, and the rear quarters.
And that's really it?
That's it.
And back in the day, if you're really running this, it would have also had light-weighted Lexan front and rear glass, right?
Right, that's exactly right, but you can't drive them legally on the street without safety glass. So I stuck with law and order and kept that. But the side windows and everything are Lexan.
And the doors too, right?
Doors are fiberglass.
So what's the door weigh on this baby?
Weighs about 9 pounds.
You're kidding, really? Can I open it?
Go ahead.
Oh man, that's like nothing.
Yep. They were, and the original would have been slightly lighter because they wouldn't have even bothered putting a inner panel in it.
But I mean, that 9 pounds for the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing. Now, inside, it's all business. There's only a couple gauges that you really gotta have.
Water, oil, and volts, and a tachometer.
And these would have been like what they did back then. These were basically Econoline band seats, weren't they?
Bostrom Econoline seats. Wow. Very light, much lighter than the original buckets or bench seat that were in it.
Man. This is funny because I look at this car and I go, it was a Comet. But it's a Comet Cyclone.
Right. That was an upgrade package for the Comet.
So it was actually an option package before it became a model, because eventually it became a model, right?
It was just an option for the first, I believe, 3 years, 64, 5, 6, and 7, and then in '68 it became a car.
There's a lot of
hard lines.
Hard lines in this rear quarter. You don't want to dent that, I don't imagine.
No, that's why that was only a 1-year offering.
That's another quarter.
Yeah.
So. Fiberglass bumpers too?
Bumpers and bumper brackets are fiberglass.
Bumper brackets too. Man, just every place you could pull weight out of this car, you did.
That's right. That was their trick.
Well, we've alluded to it before, but the SOHC stitched into your seat, single overhead cam. This is actually a camera motor.
That's correct.
Oh, let's go look at that, baby.
Okay.
I love those engines. Oh, yes. That is a beauty to behold. Those are monsters.
They were big engines. Of course, the heads were huge. But I've always felt myself, aesthetically, there wasn't a prettier engine.
It is gorgeous. And again, like you said, I mean, it's just absolutely massive. Single overhead cam and dual quads.
Correct. 750 Hollies.
750 Hollies on quite a kind of a downright pretty manifold there.
Right. Well, of course, I'd polished everything, but
Cast iron block and...
nope. This is an aluminum '68 Can-Am Ford block.
Holy mackerel! What?
A la GT40.
Holy cow! Whoa! No, I'm really impressed. So, what kind of horsepower?
It dynoed at 837 at 7,000 RPM.
Holy mackerel! Well, and you can hardly see them down there tucked around, but that's some pretty fancy headers too. Where'd you find those?
Well, I had to make those. Those are nothing you can find on the shelf.
Look at that. Now, when I think of these engines, typically they're all covered up and they're ducted off through the two dummy headlights up there.
Right, right. But that was a great big 6-inch piece of black plastic tubing that just hid the motor. And I've got those parts, but I just couldn't bring myself to keep them on there.
No, I can understand that, and I imagine it does okay without that.
It's fine.
I love the. I mean, that's such an aggressive looking hood on these too. That bulge, you knew it meant business.
Right. That was a Ford Teardrop.
But now, even with, I mean, you kept this so with glass front and back to be legal, so that you could actually drive this on the street. You've got this license. This is a
That's correct.
Street legal, streetable car.
Yep. Lights and all the electrics work, and I keep it plated up, and I drive it around town.
Wow. Suppose I could drive it around?
You are absolutely welcome to drive it around.
I'm absolutely thrilled. Let's pin this thing and fire this baby up. What do you say?
Okay.
I'll get the other side.
You look good in this car.
I feel good in this car.
It likes it when you're driving it like you're mad at it.
Yeah, well, I find, especially with something like this, I find myself short shifting it.
Right.
Because it's just too much there.
Right. They were just, they were built to just be maxed out. You know what I'm saying? And you and I drive something like this on the street. Try not to be just crazy.
Man. And I'm like at about a quarter throttle.
Yeah.
But man, she don't corner very well.
A little over. Pushes a little bit.
Pushes a little bit, yeah.
You're doing pretty good in this thing on these windy roads.
Not bad, you kind of start turning early and you turn a little harder. Woo! Holy mackerel.
That motor will climb to about 7,400.
When you pull this thing out at a show.
Oh, they love it.
Man.
I built it for myself. It was just something I wanted to do. I was hoping people would appreciate it. And I've had older guys come up and just say to me, thanks for the memories. It's been so long since I've seen one of them, And that's the biggest part of it, I think. Well, Tom, that is one serious cyclone. That thing is strong. I don't know what else you can say about this. Well, that was the intent. Over the top.
And I think you achieved your goal. But this is where it all started for us, basically.
Right,
this is where I met you at the car show with this baby, and this '64 Marauder I just think is a fantastic car. And man, you don't see these anymore.
No.
I love these cars. In part because of the front end. That's. You start seeing a little bit of Lincoln there. That's almost Continental up there. And actually that grill looks strangely like the grill on the Cyclone.
That is a Marauder grill in the Cyclone. I wanted to keep both cars so they knew whose family they were.
But man, it's a gorgeous car, and Mercs are so distinctive looking. And they were notorious for this kind of really weird roof line, that kind of canted back in the back, even had the breezeway top. But this looks like a Galaxy roof.
It is a Galaxy XL fastback roof line. Same as the Galaxy, the doors are interchangeable.
Well, wait. Now I can see that as a Galaxy roof, but I sure don't see that as a Galaxy door. I mean, how does that thing fit onto a Galaxy?
Well, it fits just exactly the same, but what Mercury did was build these body trim pieces that supported these stainless trim bars.
And married the rest of the trim front and back.
And then the quarters and fenders were stamped that way.
Now this is a Park Lane, which was the top of the line for Merc.
Right.
But it's a Marauder. Is it really like that Comet Cyclone? This is a Park Lane Marauder?
It's a styling upgrade.
Okay.
Different trim, a few different trim marks, and of course the Park Lane had some fancy lower rocker trim that none of the other Mercs had that year. But
well, great. I mean, the black car is fabulous, but then to complement it with a white interior, I love this. Those actually look like T-bird seats, though.
they are.
Oh.
That's what Ford and Mercury used in their XLs and their sport roof type cars, were the Thunderbird buckets.
And is that back seat basically
Galaxy? Mm-hmm. Looked like bucket seats back there.
That's cool. You know, I had never noticed that before.
Radio speaker in the center.
You know, it wasn't until I got here in the light. There's a print in this
Ostrich pattern.
ostrich pattern. Now, is that a custom touch of yours?
No, that's the original for the 25th anniversary sport roof kind of stuff. They had that in different colors, but this car, of course, had the ivory interior.
But like you say, this was a 25th anniversary car. In '64, it was only 25 years prior to that Merc was launched.
Correct.
So this is even badged 25th anniversary,
Yeah,
right?
on the center of the steering wheel it says that.
Stock dash and a factory 4-speed
Factory 4-speed.
with a lot of other options you wouldn't normally expect.
Right.
You got factory air.
Factory air, power windows,
Jeez.
power seats.
Holy cow. Well, you know, I love the lines of a Merc. And I mean, this rear quarter, that's got to be 10 feet.
It's long.
It's long. And they couldn't do that in a single stamping.
No, 5 separate pieces, 3 of them just to make this tail fin area.
Really?
And then the large stamping, and then of course the front.
And then, so this is like all welded?
Mm-hmm. It's all hand welded.
Well, nobody's doing that anymore.
No, they make them out of plastic now.
Injection molded.
Yeah.
But you know, the rear end of a Merc is just always so stately. Well, Merc in general is just a stately, but still aggressive looking car.
Right.
And man, I love this. There's some serious bling back here too. That bumper's kind of up and in your face, very shiny. And this trim piece is beautiful. That probably dents like crazy.
Yeah, that's a light aluminum. It's hot dip aluminum. I had to have those that and the grille redone. The taillight bezels though, and all the stainless trim around this car is all the original factory stuff.
That's amazing. And now how about this looks like almost
those
some
are part of the
add-on bling.
25th.
Oh, it's part of the 25th package? Wow, I mean, she's gorgeous. Now, most of these 4-speed cars would have had a 427 actually, so
Right, nope, this is a 390 Super Marauder with the big large ports in it.
let's go look at that baby.
Okay.
Wow, 390 Super Marauder. Is that tri-power?
Yeah, it was dealer installed tri-power, and the 427 long branch headers were optional in those days as well.
I mean, this thing looks original. I mean, has it ever been out of here?
No. I've not repainted anything under the hood. I pulled the heads off and the intake just to inventory the condition of the engine, cleaned everything up and put it right back together inside the frames.
Without ever taking her out?
Right.
Wow. So how many miles?
It's got 79,000 on it.
Well, you know, again, I mean, factory 4-speed, usually a 427, they didn't make many of those.
Nope, 7 as far as I can find.
So have you ever seen another one of these?
No.
Man, I mean, I absolutely love these cars. They ride like a dream. I mean, they're Mercs.
Yep.
They
Very
basically ride
smooth.
like a Lincoln. And this is one that you got plated, you drive this one.
Yep, we drive it.
I mean, it's not a grocery getter, but you take it out.
No, get it out and drive it, and take it on cool evenings and cruise.
Have a good old time. Well, you know, you let me drive that thing. If I can drive that,
Oh,
I bet
yeah.
I can drive this.
Oh, there's no problem.
Well, let's close it up and let's take this baby out for a cruise.
All right then.
It's just real different having a 4-speed in a car like this.
Yeah. Isn't this a smooth old car though?
Oh man, well, it's a Merc. Oh man, is this smooth. I love Mercuries. And the sound does not fit the look of this car. You know, you're just like, wait a minute, that sounds way too bad for a Merc Park Lane.
It's a smooth car though, isn't it?
Oh, she's beautiful. But it's still got that throaty, you know, powerful sound to it. What do you have on it for exhaust?
I made 2.5-inch stainless exhaust all the way to the rear, and then some Flowmasters there in the very back. This car comes on now.
I bet it does. You don't even see a 64 park lane around, let alone a Marauder.
Right.
These just aren't, they just aren't around. And I don't quite understand that. This isn't a car that you necessarily used up. This isn't like, you don't see Torinos around much anymore because people just, beat the crap out of them.
Right.
But this was a, it's a pretty high-end car. You certainly don't need to double clutch a car like this, but it's just so much fun.
Oh yeah. I always give it the old double wrap like Steve McQueen in Bullet. Between gears,
So until our next meeting, remember, honor the timeless classics. I'm Dennis Gage. Happy motoring.